So with Carson Wentz going down, we know the MVP is up for grabs. And I said it yesterday, and I'm sure many have said it, and I'm sure you have said it. Antonio Brown is now the leader for the MVP in many eyes. But what exactly can Nick Foles learn from these guys via NFL Network? These are guys who replaced the starting quarterback during the season and ended up winning a Super Bowl. So in 71, via NFL Network, Roger Staubach replaced Craig Morton. In 1974, Terry Bradshaw replaced Joe Gilliam. Incredible shot of Terry Bradshaw.
Gilliam.
I'm sorry?
Joe Gilliam, man. Joe Gilliam was supposed to be the guy. He had some issues away from the football field that opened the door for Terry Bradshaw outside of that injury also. But go ahead.
Right. All right, calm down, Mr. Steeler. All right, Jim Plunkett replaced Dan Pastorini in 1980. Doug Williams replaced Jay Schroeder. That was in week 2 in 1987. Jeff Hostetler replaced Phil Simms in 1990. Trent Dilfer replaced Tony Banks in 2000. And then some guy named Tom Brady replaced Drew Bledsoe in 2001. Look, aside from Brady, okay, let's just be real about this. Nick Foles is no goddamn Tom Brady. However, what can Nick Foles learn from these guys of past years who went on to win the Super Bowl, knowing that he's in a very good spot with this Philadelphia Eagles team?
Well, technically, Nick Foles, even though this player has not won a championship, it hasn't even been close, but he can learn some things from Case Keenum. The job he's doing right now currently for Minnesota, having them in the playoff hunt, and clearly, they could potentially find a way to get to Minnesota. They play in Minnesota, but that's where the Super Bowl is.
Right.
But I think most importantly for Nick Foles, he has to realize this team currently has one of the best records in the NFL because they have good players, and they don't need Nick Foles to come in and win the ball games by himself. Right. But they just need Nick Foles to be smart, because when you look at playoff teams, when you look at teams that are successful in playoffs, they benefit from smart football and they benefit from dumb football from the opposing team. So when I say dumb football, I mean as far as non-athletic mistakes, penalties not within the lines, dumb mistakes as far as turnovers, because turnovers can open the window of opportunity for an opposing team, or it can close the window of opportunities. And the thing about Case Keenum, what we're seeing right now before our eyes in this season, is that Case Keenum has been playing exceptionally smart, and he's making timely plays. And because of that, Minnesota they have not missed a beat with him at the quarterback position. Nick Foles has experience as a starter in the league. He actually has more experience starting than Case Keenum. And now you have to understand, we're not inserting a young guy into the lineup. We're inserting a guy that has been to a Pro Bowl. When he was there in Philadelphia, he played pretty good football. I don't even consider his time in St. Louis with the Rams, because clearly Jeff Fisher had no idea on how to develop quarterbacks based on what we're seeing right now with Jared Goff.
Right, clearly.
Because remember, Jared Goff looked horrible under Jeff Fisher and his staff. And the same could be said for Nick when he was there with the Rams.
And even for Vince Young, right?
Yeah. Now, Vince Young had some pretty good flashes here and there, but Vince Young was an extraordinary athlete.
Yeah.
He was able to make plays when plays were not there. These two quarterbacks, Jared Goff and Nick Foles, they're not the same athlete like that Vince Young was.
No, not at all. I'm just saying Jeff Fisher not understanding how to nurture a talent in a quarterback.
Yeah. And maybe in his latter years as a head coach, Jeff Fisher kind of lost the relatability to quarterbacks, because I thought Vince Young was set up to do some good things. Now his focus was a bit off, and that could have, prevented him from playing the type of football we thought he could potentially play. But just as of late, seeing what Jeff Fisher was not able to do with Jared Goff, that's the big example of maybe why we saw Nick struggle in the Rams. But going back to my point, when you look at the running backs they have in Philadelphia, I think collectively as a unit, when you talk about 3 good running backs, they have the best running backs in the NFL as a unit, right? When you look at the tight ends, when you look at Trey Burton, you get Zach Ertz back. You still got Selleck as a unit. I think they have the best unit of tight ends in the league. Even though the offensive line, they've been dealing with injuries. Without Jason Peters, their best tackle, their best offensive lineman, you still have Lane Johnson, who's been playing real good football. You still got Kelsey at the center position. That offensive line has really done a phenomenal job. And that defense, led by Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, his ability to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks, that defense has been playing lights out. So with all of that being said, Nick, all I need you to do for me is make timely plays. There's nothing wrong with punting the football, because now you give our outstanding defenses an opportunity to show their worth. But play smart football, make timely plays. And Doug Peterson, he knows Nick Foles, because remember, he was on that staff when Nick was there the first time. And then he actually went out to bring Nick back. Right. So he understands the player. So that, I think that relationship that's already established, that will do wonders for them. But Nick just has to understand, you know what? These guys got one of the best records in the NFL because I got talented players surrounding me. I'm gonna let them do what they do. And I'm just going to manage and make timely plays, and most importantly, be smart. They should be okay.
Alrighty, B-Mac, we appreciate it, bro. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate you joining us here on TYT Sports. It's always a pleasure to talk with you once again. A mentor, a friend. I freaking love this guy. Great insights as always. Appreciate it.
Cut it out, Rick. Hey, Rick, I'm happy to see you got the Steelers stuff, because I know you're a Chicago guy, and usually you talk about the Cubs and the Bears.
There's a lot to talk about.
You can't say too much. You can't say too much about the Bulls right now. But I like
I didn't say I could.
Pittsburgh flavor right now.